What was your high school's wildest NSFW scandal? All these pedophile teacher stories, and all my high school did was start a rumor a girl named Janie didn't have a butthole. My statistics teacher got fired when he accidentally turned on the projector to show his Mac screen to the whole class and a porn site was opened. I went to a charter school in PA. The founder stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from the school district and used it for himself. In the back of the school, he built an apartment with a stripper pole, but it was hidden in the school. You could only get to it through one door hidden in a closet. He was eventually caught stealing money and he committed suicide. The soccer coach was sleeping with 4 of the soccer players, 16 to 18 years old, 2 of them being other teachers' daughters. They had it completely secret until his wife found a journal where wrote about each time he slept with each girl on the team. At the end of the school day we walked out and there was 4 to 5 cop cars and they were walking him out of his building in cuffs. If I remember correctly, the girls didn't have to come back to school for the rest of the school year. It was close to the end anyway. Everyone found out their names pretty quickly. Biggest scandal at that school in decades. Someone put gear oil in the machine shop teacher's coffee. Damn near killed him. A student routinely masturbated in the gender-neutral bathroom, without cleaning up after himself, and when people found out they started leaving post-it notes that read "Not Free Zone." Our principal had to address the entire school about it. A few years ago I had the TV on in the background with a true crime show going. Wasn't paying much attention to it until I heard the line, "There wasn't much else for high school kids to do in wife's hometown during year wife would have been in high school." Started paying attention, and it's covering some kind of sex ring that ended with the murder of one of the participants. Brought it up with my wife and she was like, "What? I don't remember." Oh, right, that incident. Our history teacher made multiple sexual remarks to a female classmate. One time he pulled her shirt up because her cleavage was distracting. He retired not long after that. There was this younger, smokin' hot female teacher at my high school. Her BF was on The Real World, and she did a visit on the show wearing a super skimpy bikini and talking about her BF SDK. Everyone had already had a crush on her, but this pushed it over the edge. I don't know if she quit teaching, but I don't remember seeing her around school after that year. One of our history teachers had been a stripper before becoming a teacher. This was years earlier. She was a stripper before she even went to college to get her teaching degree. We found out about this because the father of one of my classmates had been a regular customer of hers and recognized her at a student-teacher conference. He told his son, who obviously told the entire school. One of the girls were fucking the IT admin. She was 16 to 17 when that started. Heard an update from an old classmate nearly 20 years later, and not only have they stayed together, they're married, got 3 kids and live the upper-middle-class suburban dream life. My biology teacher was having sex with a sophomore. It became a personal problem for me because I wanted to take AP Bio the next year, and I needed a recommendation from my current teacher to take the class. I asked the AP instructor if I should go to the state penitentiary to get my letter. Principal sexually harassed a teacher. Gym teacher was fired for being too close to female students. I couldn't get any more details, but I did witness his strange behavior towards females in the class many times. One girl had a key to his office. Students having sex in bathroom per second theater. Nobody ever got caught in the theater as far as I know. There was also a stabbing my freshman year. I didn't witness that itself, but I was in the hallway that it happened on and witnessed the loud and panicked crowd. A student was having sex with many girls in the gym locker room or music practice rooms. This was discovered due to an explosion in STD rates. I don't recall if it was chlamydia or gonorrhea. Yuck. 2 students coordinated jerking off in English class. Girls track coach gave members of the girls track team rides home and massages. Got escorted out of the school in cuffs one day. Our science teacher was a porn star in a past life. Someone in the school found a video she was in his dad's porn stash. It was a huge scandal in our conservative town. She was let go, which sucked because she was really an excellent teacher. It became a national news story. She was on Drive. Phil about it. Despite numerous campaigns by the students, she was never hired back. A kid apparently jacked off in the back of the class. Someone apparently got it on their phone. Cops came. Person who recorded it got charged. He sat where I did, but in a different class period. So I switched my chair for a new, less nutty, chair. Turns out, every other class before me had also switched the chair, so we couldn't find the nut chair. We even made black lights with our phones to look for the chair. It was great. A bunch of football players went to town on a girl in the auditorium. That was the rumor anyway. The other NSFW scandal is a guy found out his girlfriend was pregnant, so he decided to solve this by tying her to a chair and beating her to death with a bat. I wish that was a rumor. This is totally fucked up. 2 senior boys pinned a younger kid down on a pool table. pulled his shorts down and hammered a giant glue stick up his arse with a hockey stick. Needless to say, there were a few expulsions. My first day of 9th grade, a senior took a hit of acid, took his clothes off, ran around naked yelling, "I want to see everyone, I want to see everyone." He was finally chilled out and they got a robe on him. Called his folks. Maybe he was suspended. Same him a few weeks later. 3 years after that he came to our house to install cable TV. My dad always kept some cheap beer around for service people and the like. I gave him and his coworker and said we didn't have any LSD. He laughed his ass off and said, "That's probably a good thing." My homeroom teacher in 6th grade was caught having sex with a 12th grader. My friend grabbed my phone and sent a penis to the prom chat. The girlfriend of my best friend was molested one day. It didn't take long for it to get around school, when the police got to investigating the whole situation, and after about a week the molester disappeared from school for multiple months. He came back as a registered sex offender. The molester was someone in our class, and when my best friend found out he took matters into his own. Molester ended up with a broken nose. Not sexual, but someone took a huge shit in one of the bathroom sinks. Very much abnormally large, especially given that it was in a sink. It was basically a mountain of shit, and at the very top someone put a perfectly ripe strawberry. Not even a scandal, just a widely accepted rumor. English teacher was purported to select one male per senior class to try and woo and sleep with. My friend claimed his older brother was that year's selection, prodding him to strive to do the same. Unfortunately for him, another, uninterested, buddy actually was, resulting in her petting his arm, giggling at his jokes, bending over in front of him, etc. She left to become a principal at a different district a few years later. Girl 1 sends nudes to Girl 2's boyfriend. Girl 2 prints the nudes out and puts them in every unlocked locker and on all of the walls in the school. I actually witnessed this. So, 2 students with mental disabilities went to the toilet together. Exactly what you think happened. The teachers forced the door open to stop them. End result of this, the parents of both students each argued that neither had the capacity to give consent. Both students were sent to court on rape charges against each other. Of course it was their parents' choice to do this. Charges were dismissed in the end though, but that was one hell of a month for everyone in the know. An English teacher would make out with a student during his planning period while his wife was teaching classes next door. After school, he would make excuses to his wife about having to stay late at school and meet the student at hotel rooms. He was led out of the school in handcuffs in front of the entire school. Funny enough, the cops gave him the opportunity to go out the back door of the school and not make a scene, but he refused. Used to run into our IT tech at illegal raves doing coke a fair bit. Ought to be 16 again. A teacher who was always suspected of having inappropriate relationships with students managed to get on the wrong plane with a student during the senior trip. They ended up in Greece when everyone else was in Italy. 9 months later she had a baby but didn't tell anyone who the father was. One of the PE teachers was very not secretly in a relationship with one of the upper 6th girls, US senior. The day after she left school he left his missus and he and the girl shacked up and later married. Last I looked they were still happily married with a couple of kids. Someone shit on the toilet cover and masturbated over a picture of our English teacher. 2 girls were caught having fun in the women's bathroom. New question, teachers of Reddit, how hard is it to not FK the students? New teacher came in to teach 10th grade chemistry. She was about 24 years old and super friendly with students. Halfway through the school year one of her students f***ed her, taped it and of course, showed the whole school. Not high school, but we had a teacher sleep with a mentally disabled kid under 13. Students got caught fucking behind the theater by the vice principal. He went on the PA system to remind all students to refrain from doing anything inappropriate while at school or in the theater room. You could hear the entire school erupt in fucking laughter. No one knew who it was though. This happened after I graduated, but a student attacked another student with a frying pan. There weren't any frying pans in the school, so it had to be a premeditated frying pan attack. Phones got banned because a couple had sex at school and they filmed it with their phones. PE teacher had sex with a student in the school. This kid titty-f***ed this girl in the quad after giving her way too much. She had a seizure during the whole thing. Was awful. Somebody pooped in a Pringles can and hid it in the bathroom. Let's see. The greasy hair comb-over principal was banging the young counselor during school in the office. Forgot to close the blinds. Was seen by half the school. And his wife, who was a PE teacher. My high school friend who got pregnant, who was propositioned by the football coach as it doesn't matter now, you're already knocked up. In the auditorium there was this obvious hole in the wall, and when I say hole I mean like a 10 feet by 10 feet square, but it was way up by the roof and back behind the stage curtains. One day my friend said she saw the janitor climbing down from it on a ladder, and she saw where he put the ladder. After school we went back there, and sure enough she went straight to the ladder. We climbed up to the hole, and there was a pretty big ledge in the hole with a twin-sized mattress covered in stains and a rack of old Playboys and shit. I was very concerned about the janitor after this. Kids had sex on a bus led to a lot of news beyond our immediate area. There was also potentially a graphic made that said school region know how to ride the bus. My math teacher literally woke up one day, murdered his wife, arranged things so it looked like a suicide, emptied her bank account, and went on to have a normal teaching day at school. We even had a mass, Catholic school, for her weeks later, and he faked grief through it all. We found out months later during school recess. I have too. When I was in a private school, there was a big scandal about a senior student having sex with a teacher and she got pregnant. He was an amazing volleyball player and had full scholarship. He lost all of it. Then when I changed schools to a public one, a senior apparently raped a 10th grade student. ETA, one of my ex-classmates remembered the case, and told me that he was already 18, though they started having sex earlier. By the time she was pregnant he was 18. I assume it was between April to May of that year. A girl got gangbanged on an office chair and everyone spun it around for a turn. An English teacher had sex with a student as soon as she turned 18, and she went on to become a Victoria's Secret model. He had a reputation for doing so every few years. He only got fired last year. Some loser from my school posted a question aimed at high schoolers about sex so he could jerk off to the answers. Dubbed the urinator, they kept finding urine puddles in the school hallways, stairwells, and the handicap elevator. The school had cameras everywhere, but they never saw someone just peeing in the hallway. No one knew how it kept happening without someone being caught. Turns out someone was peeing in a Gatorade bottle, and in between classes when halls were full they would just randomly spill it somewhere and no one around them noticed. The method only got found out when the bottle with some leftovers was found in a trash, but they still never found who actually was doing it. A couple f***ed in the bathroom before an assembly, and one of the teachers heard. He subtly mentioned it later at the assembly just to find out whose faces got red. They were suspended. The Chinese exchange students had a lesbian orgy in the women's bathroom during homecoming. Kid drunk full bottle of whiskey during history class and got into an alcoholic coma. It may be false since I only heard of it and I haven't witnessed it. One of the more popular 9th GR English teachers was arrested for child porn. Guess his computer was filled with it. Two couples f***ed in the church on site, at the same time, and afterwards one of them dipped his nuts into the holy water. Oh, and it was on camera.